Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eziel, Lancer on Mount Tyrannus, and I've been getting some questions from some guildmates and on the forums and my YouTube channel. People are kind of asking, hey, I've hit 60. Now, what should I do as far as on my gear side of things? So this is not going to be your run-of-the-mill Tera 101 guide that I usually do. This is going to be kind of me just talking on the fly here to kind of what my thought process is for new 60s and how I would approach things now that I'm kind of an established 60 and been around for quite a while. So the first thing is, let's talk about what you should focus on. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our brokerage here so I can kind of start talking about some of these things. But one of the first things you want to do is especially for the support classes, is you definitely want to get your weapon, and definitely for DPS classes. So I think the first priority that you should have is for your weapon. From the Lancer point of view here, you basically have additional aggro that you get at +4 and +8. So this is definitely something that is very useful and something you definitely want to get because this is going to allow you to keep aggro. Healers, you're also going to have like your staffs here have additional healing in between on 4 and +8. So those things are going to help you out as well. DPS, not so much. You're going to have to just see that you are to go for what's got the best damage. The next thing I would probably say is probably your chest piece. I mean, your chest piece to me, I think, is probably very important, because especially from like a Lancer's perspective, we want to get something that has a lot of defense that we can enchant and maybe get that to +6 as quickly as you can, because this is it's going to keep you alive. And from the Lancer side of things, what's really cool is that the more defense you have, then the more damage or less damage you actually have to worry about mitigating on your shield. So you see that our cleft wedge here has the 51,841. More defense you have, a lot less that damage is going to be that you have to actually mitigate. So definitely, so focus on your chest pieces, I'd say, and try to get those as quickly as you possibly can. Now, the last one, the last two, your gloves and your boots, I would probably say for the most part your gloves, because they do add for DPS additional damages. For your healing classes, you've got the healing abilities. For the Lancer classes, you've got aggro. And then lastly, but certainly not least, of course, your boots, which allow you more mobility, maybe more balance, more endurance, those type of things. So that's kind of my order, I think. Weapon, chest, gloves, boots. Let's focus on those things. Now, there's actually 7 pieces of gear, and we're not going to be able to see all of them on the auction house because some have to be crafted and some are very rare that aren't going to show up here. So for the Lancer side, I want to kind of use this. The way you kind of rank these things is that you have your Agnator, which is your tier 14, which is at the very bottom, which is the Tower of Evidence for Lancers. Now, one of the things I really want you to pay attention to is if you look at the damage, it's 3,250. If you look at the second to last, it's going to be your Abyss set. Now, the Abyss set is a little bit more damage, but there's some stats that are a little bit different. So that's kind of like your second enigmatic gear set. That's probably what you would want to buy. If you could, I would certainly say you may want to skip the Agnator set and go straight for the Cleft Wedge DPS. Healers probably not so much, because when you look at the actual healer staff, which is very interesting, I wonder if I can find one here. Baton of Abyss. No, I don't think we're going to be able to find a staff here. There's a lot of people get the Nexus one, and you can see it on the Lance, is actually a 7.5% raise of max HP. So healers definitely enjoy the Tower of, or the actual Agnator Nexus weapons rather than maybe the Abyss set because of that. Whereas for everybody else, you may want to do something with a little bit more damage there. Now, what comes in after this, there's actually an equivalent of the Abyss weapon. It's actually called the Queen's Wrath. I scoured the area here. I could not find one. But basically, it's like an MC normal mode drop that you basically get. It's spot on as being the exact same thing as your Abyss weapon or chest or whatever. It just has like a different template, basically. Now, your fourth PvE set that in ranking order is going to be the Regents weapon. Now, this is kind of where everybody tries to go to because this is like the high-end purchasable PvE set that you can actually get. And if you've got the money, this is substantially expensive. You're going to be spending 50K plus on Regent tips probably now because of the way free-to-play has become and with how much gold people are bringing into the economy at this time. So for like Lancers, our Regent tip here, you can definitely see that there's a substantial amount attack modifier. There's also some stats that are a little bit better as well. And on top of that, there's actually, I think there's some sort of, there it is, Thunder Lash. There's a little bit of extra skill there, so it's kind of like a proc in there as well. And what makes the Regents a little bit better too is, let's see if we could find a Habrick here. I think there was one earlier. Let me see here. All right, so the Queen's Plate here. So from a Lancer's point of view, this is the high-end purchasable weapon or chess piece that you can get. And so one of the really neat things is that you can look and see that one of those items that you can change out is actually a skill. So on this one, there's an increased damage of shield counter by 17%. So there's like an actual skill that goes with your class. So with the Regents armor being like the fourth, high-end PvE type set, you want to make sure that you look at your actual details at the bottom. At the bottom there it says Regents armor intended for Lancers. So a Berserker can use this weapon, but he's not going to get the benefit, or she is not going to get the benefit, because it's statted for the Lancer for the skill set. So you want to get the Court Plate. So it's not too bad for those that actually wear the plate mail. So it's not bad at all because it's distinguished by name. Whereas I think okay, so these are actually split as well. So you've got your courtly jacket here, this is for archers. Your grand coat is for slayers. And then, of course, you're going to have, let's see, your Seath Mark here. There's the Queen's Wrath I was talking about earlier. And let's see, Regent's Vest here. This is actually for your warriors. So you can kind of see there's some things here that are different here. And I think the cloth class is the one. I'm just going to kind of pull this up here and see. So you see all these say Royal Right Gown. Well, there's one for priest. Let's see, is there one for sorcerers? Yep, right at the bottom. So, and you can kind of see sorcerers ones are way more expensive than for priest. So make sure if you're a cloth class, definitely pay attention. The name is not different for the Regent's gear. Now, I can't show you the other piece of gear here that is actually a PvE set, but it's actually a hybrid set too. It's actually used for the PvP type stuff as well, is the Vision Maker. So you might want to go look and do a Google search on Vision Maker for that, because the Vision Maker set is actually kind of like the high end for PvE, and also it can be used for the PvP side of things as well. So those are basically the PvE type stuff there. The Vision Maker you've actually got to create. You've got to get the materials to make that. So you'll want to find the recipe. You've got to find the materials and actually get that up yourself, your weapon, your your armor, things like that. So make sure that you're aware that it's a lot of work. You've got to finish the Queen's hard modes quite frequently in order to be able to get the materials to make that type of stuff. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to talk about the PvP side of things. There's actually 3 types of sets here, and I'm going to see what I can find out for us here. Let me clear this out. I don't think pressure plate is what I'm looking for. Okay. Yep, this is it. So you can actually now purchase the Freywind and the Nexus Agnator sets on the auction house. Before free-to-play, you had to earn it through doing BGs, or you had to do it through doing the Nexuses. Well, with the Freywind sets, these are actually your first-tiered levels for your PvP gear. They cannot be masterworked. The Freywind cannot be. You can +9 it. But honestly, from a weapon perspective, I think that you would be better off with an Abyss type weapon potentially. I know I had double attack speed. Look at the gains and losses from that. You may want to double check some of that. So the Freywind allows you to kind of get that introduction into some PvP gear. Oh, and actually there is one step below that I did miss, is the Victor set that you could purchase from the vendor. It's very, very cheap. It's like a tier 13 type gear for PvP if you want to do that. Or you can save up your gold and actually purchase some of this gear off of the auction house here. Now, as far as what's above the Freywind set, I'll go ahead and just pull myself up here. I've actually got full conjunct gear, and you can kind of see that it's basically the high end of the PvP side of things. And what this is for, this takes a lot of work to get to. You've got to combine. I've got a video on how to make your conjunct gear. But for the most part, this is going to be what most people, I believe, are going to use for their BGing and for their 3v3s until they get that rank for the Sky, what is it, the Sky Gardens or the 3v3 type stuff. So the Sky Rings, there we go. So because you can actually get, I think it's called the Blood Rave gear, which is all +12, and you can purchase it with basically kill spree points. And that's actually the very top end PvP gear, and you have to maintain that level or that rank in order to keep that gear. So that's kind of the quick and dirty high level of exactly this entire gears of the end piece. There's some Jack's Trust and Almathea. You can actually purchase some different type of gear from those places as well. More or less like filler gear. that are actually pretty decent. They're all pretty much on par with like a +9 Abyss, maybe a +8 Abyss. I don't know the exact qualities as far as which they match, but I think it's pretty close there. So that's one way to do it. And that's like 900 points to get like the weapon, and then maybe 800 for the actual armor, and then 750 or something like that as far as for your gloves and your boots, which I can go ahead and I guess we could teleport over to Cutthroat, which is not that hard to just switch on over there. But so what I'm hopefully doing here with this is actually giving you guys a little bit of an idea on exactly what to expect as far as the gear side of things and kind of how to prioritize those things. And I'll see what I can do hopefully as I go through and edit this video to kind of list out some of those pieces of gear in order of ranking of how they stack on with each other, and give you guys just a little bit better idea on how things work out there. So all right, I'm gonna go over here to the vendor real quick just so I can show you this filler set here, and this really honestly, if you don't have the gold, is probably going to be your best bet, I would say. It's my personal opinion. I think that if I was a new 60 and didn't have the gold, I would probably do these dailies as frequently as possible for Jack's Trust and the Unified Elder Institute, which is located in Almathea. All right, so let's talk to this other person here. All right, so for me, it's the Bat, and it's going to be the Berserker favored suit and Lancer favored suit. There you go. So you got these two pieces of gear here that you can actually get for faction gear, and it actually looks like this is only for 4 classes here. So basically the Unified Elders Institute is going to be for the other classes as well. So this is actually going to cover our, where is the class at here? Oh, this is your double twin sword. So this is Warrior, you've got Lancer, you've got the Slayer, and then you've got the Berserker. Now what's really cool about this, guys, is like the Lancer favored suit. Look at this. It's actually got a decreased cooldown for challenging Shao by 10%. It's a little bit of a increase, and you can look and see that defense modifier. And let me switch out and I'll show you my Abyss here and what the defense looks like for this. So let me go ahead and go back here. And look, I mean, you can see that I'm +9 with this gear here, and 4,074 plus the 1,649 is just a little bit more than the defense modifier of the Lancer favor suit. So it's definitely viable to get this until you actually do have the gold or the money to do those type of things. And then this is just fodder that you can actually purchase here. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. I know I probably maybe rambled a little bit, but I wanted to talk about some of the in-game gear because I got a lot of questions from folks about this, and I hope that this was somewhat informative for you. If you do have any questions, be sure to post them on the YouTube comment section or find me on the Tera forums. And of course, guys, as always, happy hunting until next time.